Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the podcast here in Kingsland, Texas, U2 Ministries. I see you all sitting out there. Looking good out there. You guys in San Saba, you're not looking as good as the girls in Woodman, but hey, what can I say? So I'm glad you came and joined us, and everything's going to be okay. We got a guest today, and I'm super excited about that. And what else do I got to say? I don't know, but it's nice seeing you. And my mustache, I trimmed it up a little bit, and it's still out of whack. And last week, Kim said you can see my nose hairs. Did I trim them? No, but it's okay.
You should have trimmed your nose hair.
I probably should. I should have. Anyway, good to see you, ladies. Hello, Kimberley.
Hello,
How's your day going?
Thomas.
All right, Thomas. And then we have a guest here. This is Lillian. Lillian, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
I think she's nervous.
She's nervous. Nice shoes. Those things are shiny.
My little moon boots.
Yeah, I like those. I do
He's
like
gonna
those.
moonwalk out of here.
So we got something else cooking here in the U2 Ministries. We got some other things cooking. So next Saturday, we are going to be at Lockhart to do our podcast, and I'm pretty excited about that. Ooh. I'm a little nervous about taking all of it down here because we finally got it set up to where it all works right, and then driving it an hour and a half and setting it back up, and hopefully it works out right.
It's been a journey learning how to do all this.
It has, but
trial and error.
I think we got it.
We did good.
Knock on wood. Knock on plastic. All right.
Is that wood?
No, it's not. It's plastic.
Oh.
That's Mr. Amazing. That's me if you don't know.
Oh
if
my
you're just
God, he's
tuning in.
naked back here.
Oh my gosh, Kim, calm down, Kimberly. We're not showing anybody that.
Oh, okay.
Can you say that on the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. I know now I want to look. But no, I already know.
At it.
I already know what my butt looks like. That's funny. All right, so God's doing some great things. He really is. I'm really excited about what he's doing. I mean, there's still some hiccups every once in a while, but other than that, I've been staying focused on the word, and we're still in our saga, which we'll go over a little bit today, but we're going to give Lillian a chance to speak a little bit because we've known each other now for a long time. Yes?
Yes.
So Lillian, how long have we known each other now?
Since 2016, so 9 years.
9 years. And we met somewhere?
At San Saba, whenever it was a women's unit.
So you used to sit in one of those blue chairs?
I did.
Or were you a volunteer?
I was not a volunteer.
You were?
I voluntarily went to the class, I guess.
You did go. Yeah, you did. Yeah. So Lillian and I have known each other for 9 years. And so it was one of those things where we just kind of had a connection. Right? Didn't you think so? We had a connection. And then there's been a couple of rough patches along the way. Yes, but you know what? It's kind of funny how God brings the whole thing back to being okay again. Yes?
Yeah.
So, and then Kimberly here, we met in Lockhart probably about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago. And technically, we probably would have never met if it wasn't for Blondie, the blonde barberette that was in San Saba. Probably after I met you, Lillian, you were probably gone by then by the time Carrie showed up. And then Carrie told me that I needed to go to Lockhart. And then we go over to Lockhart with hygiene, and then there you are.
There I am.
And then boom, here we all sit again.
Did we have a connection?
We did. We did.
Sure.
Even though, I know. And you said some things last week on last week's podcast, but a little difficult. I was wondering if you were going to cut those out.
No, I'm going to keep it.
You are?
Yeah, it's my testimony.
Okay. Well, it is your testimony, but sometimes, we got to...
Sometimes you also got to just put it out there, so other people can get healed. So you can be healed.
You can. I was telling Lillian earlier that when I went back over to San Saba, to the men's prison, I used to do my class and have the chairs all set up, right? And I used to sit in a chair. And then when the men's prison, everybody would sit in chairs, and for some reason, nobody's sitting next to me. And then there was a guy that came in, and he was, what can you say? He was
Did he look like he should have been there whenever it was a woman's prison?
He could have. Yeah. He kind of dressed like a girl. And anyway, I thought, oh no, please don't sit next to me. Please don't sit next to me. Please don't sit next to me. I did. I think please don't sit next to me. Because I know I'm going to come out in the light and say I'm homophobic. I don't even know if you could say that anymore. You could say it now because we're not woke anymore, but I'm homophobic. So I just did not want the guy to sit next to me. Anyway, after that, over there at the men's prison, I sit behind a table. But, you know, it's not really as bad over there at the men's prison as the women's prison. It's a little different over there. But
Well,
at the
yeah,
girls,
I would think so.
it's funny, at the women's prison, I set my class up and nobody sits next to me either. They just don't. I'd like they're
They're
afraid of me.
intimidated by your mustache.
That's right. I told you that
Remember?
last week.
They're
I did.
intimidated by your
I did.
mustache.
I did tell you that. I did. All right, so
Can you wiggle it?
I couldn't wiggle it. That's kind of weird. I'd say, "Roar!" So anyway, I've been working on some new scriptures this week. You know where I started? Genesis,
The beginning?
in the beginning. You know, that's a good place to start, in the beginning.
Yeah, it's always a good place to start.
Yeah. So, you know what? Lillian, why don't you give the audience, because you know what? I know the reason why I had you here is because you spent a little bit of time behind the bars, and you've also had some, life has been a little tough for you. Right. I remember going and hearing your testimony in Abilene one time. Hoseas and I went down there. And you know what? That was a tough testimony to hear. Right. And I know you've been struggling with some stuff, but I think you're past it now. Yes.
Yeah, I think the guilt part of, because like for me, like I am past the heroin addiction, I'm past the meth addiction, but now I have people in my life that are still suffering the consequences of my addiction. And so to me, I still carry a lot of guilt for that. So on the way here, I was thinking about like the things that had happened between you and I, and I felt like God was pretty much letting me know, like, if he could forgive you, just think about how much more I forgive you for the things. And I don't think sometimes my brain comprehends the amount of forgiveness that God has shown me. And so with the forgiveness that he's shown me, I know that he also has the remedy for the consequences that the other people in my life, such as my children and the people that love me, have felt or still continue to feel as a result of that. I don't know. I probably didn't answer that right. But.
No, that's real. And it's totally relatable.
You get that,
know?
Kim?
It's totally relatable.
Yeah.
You know, I think that, and I might be wrong, but whenever you're living, dang,
well, you keep saying I'm a bully, so I might as well just start to put it into
yeah, you might as well
action.
just live up to the name. No, like what she says, like it's so relatable because whenever you come from, and I don't know like your story, but it sounds like you probably, you and I probably have that in common, that rough life. Mm-hmm. And doing some of the worst things imaginable, and now you're trying to live differently, and you're trying to walk in God's love and light and mercies and grace. And sometimes it's very hard to just, it's like when you're laying in bed sometimes in the morning, it's like you have lead feet. You can't even swing your legs over the bed to be thankful because you're just weighed down by all the stuff that you've done, like that I've done, you know, just saying for me, like. And it's like you have to fight yourself every day, you know? And sometimes it's like you just have to make that mental choice. Like, God, I don't really feel like I'm forgiven. I know I'm forgiven. I choose to believe I'm forgiven. But how can I be? You know? Like how... And then whenever you have good things going on in your life, like... And you know that there are people in your life that are still suffering from from your choices that you've made 15 years ago or whatever, you know, like your children, like our children suffer, our families suffer, people who try to help us, people who try to care for us, they suffer, you know? And so sometimes it's hard to wrap your mind around it, that you can be forgiven for that.
Yeah. I know, but I teach a class, Search for Significance. So you know what, God, if you know, then you know too, Lillian, you know that God's forgiven you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have not asked anybody this. Well, I'm not really sure. Everybody knows that when you ask God to forgive you, it's like everybody knows that He has done it.
Yeah.
Like, no problem. I know it. But then why can't you forgive yourself? I mean, it's really kind of crazy that God's forgiven you, but you can't forgive you.
You know, it's
Right?
easy to forgive. I don't know if you relate to this, but for me, it's easier to forgive other people for the wrong that they've done towards you than you to forgive yourself for the
Yeah.
wrong that you've done towards yourself and others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can forgive anybody, you know, immediately. But like when it
Immediately?
comes immediately.
Wow.
But whenever it comes to
That's going
like
to come back to haunt you.
oh God, don't say that. But when it comes to like looking in the mirror every day and choosing that forgiveness of self, like it's hard. You have to choose it.
Yeah.
You have to choose it. You have to. There have been times where I'm like, God, I don't really believe it in my heart, but I'm choosing it, and I'm just gonna keep choosing it until you make it real. That fake it till you make it type
Yeah.
thing that we always talk about.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. Well, that's true because you know what, you girls, right? And you know, even me, but you know, I'm past it now because I decided to pick it up and I've taken it. But plus, I'm teaching social significance for the last 10 years. So I mean, God, you know, I mean, He's drilling it into me every week, you know, 2 or 3 times a week. But you know, I refuse to live in that because you know what, that's not me anymore. Right? There's
Right.
consequences to all our actions, but if Jesus took it, why wouldn't I just pick it up and take it? So I have decided to do that. So Lillian, and then, you know, the thing about it is there's going to be people watching this that have the exact same feeling, right? Because, you know, you girls are out now and you still have some guilt over stuff, but, you know, how does it feel when, you know, how do you get past when you're in there and your kids are mad at you? And, you know, how do you deal with it?
Whenever I was in there, I don't know about anybody else, but I had to pretty much shut all of that out. Like, I would send a card once a week to let them know that I was thinking about them. But on my day-to-day activities in prison, I hate to sound cold, but I couldn't think about them or what they were doing or what I was missing with them, because if I did, then I was just going to cause myself a whole lot of grief, and there was nothing I could do about it. So, like I said, I would send a card once a week, and whenever I prayed at night, I would pray for them, and then other than that, like, I completely shut my brain off
Okay.
for what they were doing.
Okay. Let me go to something completely different. Thanks. Thanks for saying okay.
Thanks for agreeing.
Yeah, thanks for agreeing. Finally, there's a sign that says agree with everything I say. Uh, there isn't, but there needs to be. So I remember in your testimony that you went to go visit your dad
Oh,
in prison.
Yeah, my dad, who is still in prison for capital murder, told me that I was the biggest mistake that he had ever made in his life.
Yeah.
I can think of at least one mistake that was greater than my existence, but to him, I was the biggest mistake he ever made. And I can't imagine ever saying that to your child, but I mean,
You want me to fight him?
I
Let's
think,
jump him.
I think the life without parole that he has is pretty much beating him
Yeah.
up. So
You know, and how many times have not with you girls, but how many times have I said, the reason why people are in prison is because they listened to a lie and they acted out on the lie. They made an ungodly decision, all based on a lie. That's why people are going to prison. Not because of God's truths. Like Paul and Jesus and, you know, some of the disciples. Now, they went to prison because of God's truths. But most of the time, everybody else is going to prison over a lie. And when you hear your dad tell you that you're the biggest mistake he ever made, I mean, like, who says that? You know, and that has got to affect you, right? And then here I am bringing it up. But I'm only bringing it up because that is a lie, because your father, Jesus, he never said that to you.
no.
I mean, just think how many mistakes, not that you've made a lot of mistakes, but just think how many mistakes we've made, and your father still loves you. And he says, no, you're a masterpiece. In my eyes, you're incredible. In my eyes, you're worth it. In my eyes, you're more than you'll ever know. And your real dad says something like that. So every time something happens, I mean, that's got to affect all your relationships. You know, sometimes, I mean, I don't know, you know, because you're probably maneuvering through that. But there's got to be times where that comes back into your brain, or maybe it doesn't anymore. Maybe it's not affecting you anymore, but it had to affect you at a time.
I mean, I feel like it probably has affected my relationship with like men, but God is so cool. Like God knew before he ever said that to me that he was going to say that to me. So my grandpa raised me. So when during the time that did hurt me and that did affect me, because he said it like right after my grandpa had passed away, so that I was already going through that. But for him to have said it, period, is just ridiculous. But um, now looking back at all that, God did give me a man that acted as if or acted like my dad, and I can reflect back on that. And this person that's in prison doing life without, I'm not missing out on him. He's missing out on me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so, I mean, and I know for myself, like when I talk to my kids, there's nothing that they could say or do that would ever make me feel like I needed to tell one of them that they were the biggest mistake that I had ever made.
Yeah.
Because some of the biggest mistakes I've ever made was not being the mother that they needed, but they themselves were not the mistakes.
Yeah. Those were actually blessings.
Yes, they were.
The kids are your blessings, right? So, yeah, that's just crazy to me. So I just can't even imagine saying that to my kids, right? I just can't. But, what do you do, right? Everybody's got something that somebody has said that's just totally bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even know what you do with the questions I was going to ask you. What do you put them in your Bible for? You didn't want me to ask you any questions?
Well, no, I put them in between Proverbs 11 and 12. Do you want me to ask them?
Well, no, I'm going to.
You want her to ask her own questions?
No, I don't want you to. I know. She wants to hide the questions. Here, you ask a question because you already know some of those questions, right? Is that okay? Or do you want to go down? Do you want to? You know what? I almost forget what happened between us.
So, okay.
Do we bring it up or do we just blow it off?
I mean, I'm okay talking about it. So,
okay.
I met you at the Search for Significance class. I went through the questionnaire that you gave us in that little booklet, and you and I clicked pretty well. When I got out, I had a lot of different people feeding into me. I started going with outreach ministries in Abilene, and we were going all over the place. And then you and Hoseas came, and we had like a little event in the park, and there was like 6 or 7 of us that spoke and gave our testimonies and stuff. And I remember still to this day talking about like during that, whenever I was giving my testimony about those small compromises that people make that eventually end up becoming big compromises. Well, while I was doing all that, I think I had lost focus on what the primary reason we were doing that, and that was to talk about Jesus, because I had so many people telling me that I was doing great and that I was great. And so I lost focus on the fact that it's Jesus that we're doing this for. It's not for the notoriety or the attention that we get from other people. It's all for him. And it slowly, in my mind, whether I admitted it then or not, well, I wouldn't have admitted it then, I became very prideful, and I slowly started thinking I was doing great. I was the one that people were wanting to see. I was the person that people were wanting to listen to. And I got so robotic in what I was saying about Jesus, I didn't have to look at my Bible anymore, because I knew what I was going to say right down to it, because that's how far I'd gotten that. And then secretly, because I'd gotten hit by a car and I started taking opiates again. And after my prescription was done with the doctor, I was secretly, so like,
hang on a second. You got hit by a car on your scooter.
Oh yeah, did I say motorcycle?
No, you didn't say anything. So people are just like, all of a sudden you're just driving down the street, boom.
No, and see,
it happens.
It does happen.
And this little scooter, somebody from the outreach had got me the little scooter so that I could go to outreach things without having to depend on a ride.
Okay.
And so a little while after I get the scooter, I'm going down Buffalo Gap in Abilene, and the little girl got her license on Monday, and ran me over on Tuesday. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my God.
and
How
so
traumatic for both of them.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I became two different people. And so, like, to my Christian friends and people that I was surrounded by, I was doing great. I was checking all the boxes on somebody that just got out of prison. I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. And then secretly over here, I was getting pills. And then when the pills weren't working, then I started getting heroin. And then you came to
Wow.
Oklahoma City to get me out of a really bad situation.
Yeah.
Brought me down here, set me up for success, got me a car, and probably 3 or 4 days after you got me a car, I found my way to a homeless camp in Austin and started getting heroin again. And after I got clean, like, I've repaired probably 90% of the relationships that I've damaged since then, or we're at least working on things. But that relationship with you, like, I felt that absence. And because it wasn't like I couldn't justify any of what I did. And at any point in time, I could have came to you and said, this is my struggle. This is because I know that you've sent other people to rehab, and you've been that person that has, like, tried to, like, campaign for people to get their lives back together. And I knew that about you then. So instead of coming to you and just being honest and being, this is who I am, or this is who I've become now, like, I just spiraled off into that. And so after I left here and went back to Abilene and continued that for a couple, I don't know, well, maybe a year or two. And then my NA sponsor, which that was funny in itself, but she calls me over to her house, and then I end up doing CPR on her for 7 minutes.
Wow.
Because she overdosed on fentanyl. And I mean, she lived through that, but then that kind of opened my eyes. Well, didn't kind of, but that did open my eyes, because I had started walking around saying, there's really nothing else you can take from me except my life, and I don't really care if you take that. But then watching or not even but like doing that, but whenever all of that was done, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, my kid's dad is going to have to explain to my kids that I have died of an overdose. And he's not going to be very nice to them about who I really was. And so I went to 2 rehabs. Neither of those worked because I left both of those so I could go get high. And then God strategically put somebody, like, right in my path that was like, you're going to get clean or you're going to go to prison. And I have the ability to make sure that happens. So what are we doing? And he put people right in my path that had the ability to put me in jail, but also had the ability to put me where I needed to be. And so, I don't know why it stuck this time, but I've been clean now almost 4 years. Well, it'll be 4 years in February. And,
Hey, hang on. We're going to get a lot of claps, aren't we, Santava, Woodman,
Yeah.
everybody? Yeah! Sorry.
but,
I can just see them all clapping for you.
but God has just been, like, putting people right where they're supposed to be. And I've had people reach out to me from the outreach places and stuff and be like, do you want to come back and start with us again? And I'm like, it's not that I don't want to, and it's not that I'll never get ready to, but I need to be in a place where it's about God and it's about what He's done. It's not about what I've done. And until I can guarantee that that's what it's going to be and that's what it will remain, then I'm comfortable just, I guess it sounds greedy, but I'm comfortable just getting fed instead of running around, like, and it's not that I don't tell people about God. Anytime it gets brought up, like, I will tell people, And, I have a big tattoo here on my arm that I get questioned about constantly. And so God comes up multiple times. But where I work, it's funny because I think I have gotten invited to every church, every kind of gathering of any sort that they have there because I'm constantly invited. And um, so I know God has something big for me to do, but I know that God wants me to be in the mindset of where I'm supposed to be, and it can't come anywhere from a prideful place, and it did before.
Yeah. Well, maybe God's just got it. Maybe the season now is you to just have a relationship with Him and build that right now. And that's super cool. Yes.
Yeah.
So I know that I said I had some problems with my son, for a while. And then he called me or texted me and said he saw you at a Cracker Barrel in
Yes.
Abilene.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, okay. And then I don't even know how did we get back here to this point here?
So the floods happened,
The floods happened.
and like the guy I'm seeing, his one of his really good friends, his parents were there, and on the news in Abilene when they're talking about all these floods, it didn't really. I just knew it was somewhere in Texas, but it didn't. I didn't register where at in Texas, and then when he started telling me where it was at, I was like, Kerrville, that's not very far from Kingsland. And then I reached out to you and asked if there was anything I could do to help y'all or whatever. And then I don't remember what you said immediately to that question, but I know that one of the next questions following that was, well, are you over it yet? And
That sounds like something.
That sounds like something you'd
I
say.
was assuming that you meant like the heroin and all of that stuff, and so I am over all of that stuff. I mean, now I don't know. God is like giving me relationships with all four of my kids again, and if there's no other reason
Don't
to stay
pout.
sober, I can't give that back.
So
Yeah.
sweet.
I know. Kim wants a relationship with her daughter.
It's gonna happen.
But it's gonna
It is
happen.
gonna happen.
So
Yeah.
I love like I'm not one of those people that like get upset when I hear about it happening for other people. I'm so excited when I hear about it, like whenever he told me about it and when I hear other people, because like it gives me hope, because like God can do it and I know he can. I'm just waiting.
I used to get aggravated, honestly, whenever people would talk about the restoration that they'd had because I wasn't even allowed to talk to my kids. And then one day, I'm just minding my business at the Cracker Barrel, and I go there a lot, apparently. One of my coworkers came, and she said, I was busy, I was having a really bad day, and probably that day, if God had not answered my prayer, which I know that sounds bad to say, but that was probably going to be my last day of sobriety in that moment. And then my coworker comes up to me and says, there's somebody at table 234 that wants to talk to you. And I'm like, do what? And she said, there's a girl out there that wants to talk to you. I said, I don't have time for that. And she said, well, she said she's your birth daughter, or she said you're her birth mom. And it was like everything just stopped in that moment. And she was the first one of the four. And I hadn't seen her since she was 2. And she was the first one.
You hadn't seen her since she was 2?
No. She was adopted by her grandparents. And so...
I didn't know we were going to need tissue today.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then her and my oldest son had built a really good relationship with each other. And so I guess she was reporting back to him, like, she is clean, she's doing what she's supposed to do. But she also had a relationship with the 2 younger ones. And she was letting them know. And, her and I, we don't talk every day because I want to give her space. Like, she'll come to me when she's ready. She's already proven that to me. So I don't have to rush anything. We have an we openly speak to each other. I love her. I know whenever she's ready to have that relationship, she will. But she's back in my life. And then my oldest son was the last one to finally give in, and because he was really mad at me, like really, really mad. And one of the last things I remember him saying to me before he had stopped talking to me was, "You were there for most of my life, but what about Lainey? You were supposed to teach her how to be a mom and how to be a woman. No, you taught her how to do is be a drug addict." And he was right. But now he's back, and he is about to get engaged. I might not have supposed to have been saying that, but I think she probably has a pretty good idea that they're getting engaged. But
Do they watch the podcast?
I'm sure, yeah, I'm
Maybe.
sure they will now.
Maybe this episode they will.
Yeah,
Well, just don't let her watch it.
Congratulations.
You're getting married.
When she says no, then this is going to be kind of weird.
She's not gonna
Yeah,
say.
she's not going to say no.
negative.
Yeah, we're not. We're not talking negative.
Gosh.
Anyway, I
Sorry.
didn't mean to
Not
go on
going-
that long rant.
It's okay.
That's
all
what
right.
it's for. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, so we're going to do a 2-part deal, and we're not
too
stopping
emotional
yet.
for this, man.
I know. I know. What was I thinking? So let's do a little Bible stuff. Anyway, Lillian, you know what? I'm going to ask Kim. What have you been working on this week in your Bible? You got any scripture?
I do.
Get your
I
phone
didn't,
out.
I didn't think I was going to read it today, so I wasn't ready.
Why
I'm sorry.
not?
Because
Like-
we had a guest.
Well, we have a guest, and we're still not. So we're not going to do the Bible. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. So I have been thinking, you know, like how when people are going through life and like they got all this scheduling and all this stuff going on, and that what is that saying? Oh, I got a full plate.
Yeah.
I have thought that I'm never gonna say that anymore.
Oh, really? You don't have
Yeah.
a full plate?
I have a full plate,
Oh, I thought you weren't going to say it.
but you know what happens whenever you have a full plate?
What happens?
You don't go hungry. You get filled.
Okay.
I don't thought of it.
Right? So you have a full plate with all this stuff God's put in your life. Because let's be honest, the stuff that God has put in, the stuff that I got going on in my life is definitely a God thing. And I stand by that. I know people will tell me, no, you work hard and you do this. Yeah, but he gives me the strength to prosper.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Right?
Yeah.
He gives me the strength to
Yeah.
prosper. All right?
Yeah,
Because
because Lillian just said is when you start to think it's
Yeah,
you,
it's you,
that's
then
when it
that's-
starts
yeah.
to have a tendency
like,
to.
so
yeah.
whenever people are like, my friend Daniel tells me that all the time. He's like, yes, God, but you work hard, you do this. No, he gives me the strength to prosper. This is
Yeah.
all God, and the job I have and the amazing thing that just happened this past weekend for me and just a lot of good things.
Go ahead, tell everybody what happened.
I got a brand new car.
Oh,
It had 4 miles on it when I
Wow.
bought it brand new. God did that because I was going for just to look, not
Yeah.
even to buy. I was going to look at about trading in my car because it had 157,000 miles on it. I had a major change in my work that is really positive, but it requires me to drive further and get stuck idling in traffic. And I do this podcast, so I drive very far, and I'm about to be approved to go back into prison, so I'll be driving very far for that. I have a lot going on. I have a full plate,
yeah, that's okay.
right? And so there was a podcast. I can't remember which episode, but I know it was we talked about how I use my car for ministry.
Yeah.
And you told me, you said, you don't think that if you ever needed a new car, God wouldn't provide that for you? And I was like, no, I totally believe it. So I went in just looking, window shopping for a used car, just something that might have 20,000 or 30,000 miles on it that I can put up some, whatever. I walked out with a brand new 2025 nice car. I'm not going to tell you what I drive.
It's
Okay.
a Porsche.
It's a Porsche.
It's not a Porsche.
It's a Rolls Royce.
Yes, exactly. She's styling.
No,
Yeah.
but it's a nice car. You saw it. It's a nice
I did.
car.
It's nice. There's no doubt.
But 2025, super nice. It's a smart car too. It's not electric. It's gas, but it's a smart car. So it has like all these crazy features, and it has a big 50-inch TV in it. No, it doesn't. But I mean, it is the nicest thing I've ever had. And I mean, you heard me. I was crying about it the whole
I know.
time.
I can't hang with girls
I
that cry all the
cried
time.
so hard in the dealership because I just wasn't expecting that. Even the dealer was like,
Dude, like, calm down.
gosh, people do this all the
Yeah.
time. What's wrong with you? And um, it's just amazing how it happened. So I have something reliable that I can invest in, and and I already put 400 miles on it.
That's good for you.
That's a lot of driving.
Well, I know, but that's what the car's for. It's to drive.
Anyways,
Give me some scripture. What do you got?
so because my,
Okay, your plate's full.
guess what? Whenever you have a full plate, just remember what Jesus said.
What did he say?
In John 6:35, he says, Jesus replied, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty.
Okay.
And so I've related that to my whole full plate thing.
Okay.
Like, I have a lot, I have college, I have this full-time job. I literally been up since 3:30 in the morning, got off work, drove the hour and a half to get here, and then I have to drive an hour and a half to get back home, and then I have to go right back to work, and then I have ministry, and I have all the responsibilities. I do have a full schedule. I have the Bible studies that I teach. But you know what? My full schedule, my full plate, Jesus promised me that if I took in his stuff, if I was diligent and if I was faithful and if I did what I know I'm supposed to be doing for him, then I'll never go hungry.
Yeah. And then plus this isn't one of those have tos. This is a want to.
This is a want to.
This is a want to thing. So you know what? Jesus is going to supply it because you know what? It's important, but the yoke is easy.
The podcast is like the big piece of chicken that you have on your plate with all the vegetables. You don't want the vegetables, but you want the chicken.
Like that you would get from Cracker Barrel?
I'm not really a Cracker Barrel fan.
Country cooking?
I'm not really a Cracker Barrel fan.
Well, you just sounded like you were because it was the chicken with the gravy and
I
the
like Tumble
sides.
22.
You what?
Tumble 22.
Okay. That's, well, Lillian's here, so we're...
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
but
it's not Cracker Barrel by no means.
But yeah,
All right,
so that's my scripture.
All right. Lillian, you got something?
Well, what I've been working on
We were going to ask her a
is-
question.
Oh.
But we're still going to... Yeah.
Okay.
the Beatitudes, and I know that I guess it gets like worn out sometimes, but
It never gets wore out.
well, I didn't mean it like that, but so at church the pastor was like breaking them down like each one and then making a sermon out of that one. But the one that's really stuck with me and that is I've been reading like Matthew 11 or 1:11. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. And so I took that to mean like, I'm only blessed if people are persecuting me solely because of Jesus Christ. But then it started to like occur to me, so like if I don't talk about the same worldly things as other people do because I'm different, or I don't go to the bar at or whenever, or I don't wear clothes with my butt hanging out and all those things because I'm trying to live above reproach, and people think I'm weird or they
Think you're lame.
and they talk about me then
That's what they
instead
say.
of being like, oh no, they don't like me. That to me, I feel like qualifies under that. And so when they start like nitpicking about how I'm not the same, or just like at work when people are like gossiping or this or that, if I don't fall into that stuff and I'm not behaving in the same manners, if I'm being singled out because my life looks different, and my life looks different because I'm following Jesus Christ, then it tells me right here the promise is that I'm going to be blessed because of that. And so that's what I've been working on. And then it goes into like James, the first chapter, verses 2-8. I don't know if you want me to read those or not, but I mean, it pretty much.
You can.
See, now I'm on the spot, so I don't know if I'll be able to find James.
She's
okay.
right though. Whenever you start living for Christ and there's like a change in you and people don't really they might know that you're living for Christ, or maybe they just don't. They just assume you're being like whatever.
Oh, it's not going to last.
Oh yeah, or like whenever you start changing up and you start like trying to like do better, not drink, not going out, not being that way, whatever, et cetera, whatever applies to everybody out there. You know what I mean? Whenever you do stop, you do get people who are like, that's lame.
Yeah.
You're lame.
That's one thing.
I get called lame a lot.
You do?
Yeah.
Nobody ever calls me lame.
Oh, because you're just so cool.
Well, that's true. I am.
Well,
cool.
if I could grow a mustache, maybe I wouldn't be lame either.
Well, if we got a little close up, we could probably see your mustache.
I don't have a mustache. I shave it.
Do you?
I shave it in the mornings.
I got a fresh wax.
I don't have a mustache. I'm not at that age yet.
Okay.
I
Continue.
don't have one either.
Okay. Not like you girls at Woodman. You girls have.
You're going to get in trouble, though.
I know. It's pretty funny.
The one that had
I've
the
seen
beard.
some guys at San Saba can't grow a mustache. It's hilarious, isn't it, JJ? Just kidding.
Poor JJ.
JJ's a good guy. You like JJ. Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
I knew while I was sitting here I would have to go to the front to look it up just because.
Hey, it's okay.
Okay,
It's
so it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let your perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all that they do."
Yeah. So, you know what? Does that go with forgiving yourself?
I mean,
Go ahead and read that again. Let me just see if my brain was working correctly on this, because it doesn't normally.
"Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds."
Okay. Many kinds could be your own trials in your own noggin,
Yeah.
where you have the guilt of how you've been as a mother, and the mistakes that you've made, and the guilt of this and that. And then, you know what? But then doesn't it say that?
"Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything."
Okay, so maybe we have to persevere, and that could mean lots of different things.
Right.
Right? But maybe we have to persevere in our forgiveness. Maybe we have to I know. It's like the only thing I actually say over and over and over, besides right or that's ridiculous, is we got to get past, it's not about our performance. How many times have I said it? I'm looking at the camera.
I see.
I'm looking at the camera. You're like, who is he talking to over there? I'm talking to everybody who's going to watch this. Is we got to get past our performance, right? I know it's not easy, because the world is saying it's all about your performance. Your brain is telling you it's about your performance, but it's not about your performance, it's about Jesus's performance, right? Have some perseverance. Like, yeah, you got to get past the guilt trip. Yeah, there's consequences to it, but Jesus loves you so much that he paid the ultimate price for you on that cross, so you don't have to live that way. So let's pick it up. Let's move on. Yeah, there's consequences. I'm going to deal with those, but I'm going to deal with those in freedom, not in rejection, not in unforgiveness, not in beating myself up all the time. Because what happens if we beat ourselves up all the time, we're going to go back to the dope, because that's what happens.
Not the
right?
dope to cope.
The dope to cope. But usually that's what happens,
Yeah, it
right?
is.
Instead of going to Christ, we get lodged into our performance, and then Satan's got us again. And with you, Lillian, because I've known you for a while, I'm telling you, man, not everybody gets as many do-overs as you've had. I mean, you've had a lot of do-overs. You've had a lot of, God has called you for something absolutely remarkable. And you know what? And maybe right now it's just the time where you and him are hanging out together. And I'll tell you what, that's remarkable. Because
That
you know
is.
what? There's nothing better than hanging out with the Lord,
Absolutely.
right? And maybe right now he has you sit down for a time in the future to mold and get it together and build a relationship with him to maybe know his character better. And I'm telling you, man, those times are great. Yes?
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
It is some good
but
stuff.
I also know that, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying whoever, like, because I know in the prison system, people are like, well, this and that. Well, God rescued you. So you know what? And he doesn't rescue everybody. That's the thing, is he doesn't rescue everybody. And sometimes you're thinking, man, it just seems so mean. But God's God, and he can do whatever he wants to because he's the one who made everything. So I don't understand everything. All I know is he doesn't rescue everybody, but if he's rescued you, we should take advantage of it. I mean, not in a bad way, but in a positive, like a humble, thankful, gracious, incredible, why do you care about me so much? I don't know, but I'm glad you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that
Well,
oh, there's a cop siren.
oh,
You know, I've expressed to you like how this new position at work is very demanding and very challenging. And I've never been in a position where I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm the best. I'm always really good at working. I'm a great worker, and I am smart.
can you put on there, boom, I'm awesome?
Boom!
No,
I'm awesome.
your little cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Put your little cartoon there.
But I'm being very challenged, and this position is very demanding. Manual labor, physical.
Manual labor?
Yeah, there's
But
some
you're a
manual
woman.
labor. Well, I do some manual labor.
Okay.
It's physically demanding. It's mentally demanding. It's a lot. Today, though, I found myself whenever I was walking the million steps I have to take a day. I was unsure of like how I was going to do something because I'm brand new at it and I'm just like kind of being thrown in, and you have to navigate a lot of areas. And I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it, but I was sitting there saying like, Jesus, like in my head, not out loud, but like, Jesus, I don't think I can do this. I feel like I'm not qualified. I feel like I'm not worthy of this job. I feel like this, I feel like that, but I know that you can do this. And so I'm just going to have to give it to you. And I kept saying what you've beaten to my head,
Thank
what you
you.
beat into all of our heads.
Yes.
I kept telling him, it's not my performance, it's yours. So just do your thing, God. Like, it's not my performance, it's yours. And that really helped me get through my day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's challenging.
Well, he wouldn't have put you in this position if he didn't think he could do it. Because
Well-
that's what God does. He gets you out of your comfort zone. Why? I don't know. He must be up to say, watch, I'm going to get them out of their comfort zone. This is hilarious. But that's what he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're just like, I don't like change either. But, some of the changes that I've made over the years, dude, am I glad I made them. Once you look back at it.
Yeah. But I just that thing that you're always saying, it's not my performance, it's his performance. I was saying that today. It's not my performance, God, it's your performance.
Oh, you're starting to get it.
I'm starting
you're
to get
okay.
it, I think.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give my old lady a shout out. Can I do that?
Yes.
Since you said that.
Can I give her a shout out?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Hi, Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie doesn't watch this anymore because she's tired of me saying ridiculous.
I want to meet you.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Oh.
You ever met my wife?
I think so.
Yeah. So, anyway, so you said that, right? So about changing or a new career. So when I decided to make a career change, I remember going home and I was sitting on the front porch and Debbie was outside and I said, look, Debbie, I don't want to do this anymore, what I was doing. I just don't want to do it. I'm going to go into building houses. I can't stand this anymore. I just don't want to do it. And it was one of those times to where she said to me, it's okay if that's what you want to do. You've always taken care of us. You've always done, you've always worked hard. I have the confidence in you. It was one of those times where she actually built me up as a man. Like she gave me the confidence that it was going to be okay.
Aw,
Now
Debbie.
I know, it was pretty cool. That's the one thing I remember. Yeah. I remember a few things, but I do remember that because that was the time where she could have just said, what do you think you're doing? You're ruining our family. You're doing this, you're doing that. And actually by me quitting that and going to the next, I wouldn't be financially where I'm at now if I wouldn't have made that choice. And it was tough because I had no idea how it was going to be. But I knew God had taken me from one place, and he can take me to the next place, and he can take me to the next place. Sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. Now, I don't know if Debbie closed the door and started crying afterwards. I have no idea. But she never let on. And it was just one of those times where she treated me like she had respect for me and I could do it. And you know what? I did
Debbie's
do it.
a good woman.
Well, sometimes.
Debbie's always a good woman.
Yeah, she's a great woman.
You better be
That was a little bit of sarcasm.
Better be nice.
I wish I had some spaghetti. Anyway. But, you know, the thing about it is, you know, sometimes we need somebody in our corner that can say, you can do it. You can make it. And not that you don't have confidence, because you do, and you can do it. And you can do it too, Lillian. You know that. But every once in a while, you just need some reassurance.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to everybody bombarding us with all the negative.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just going to be a drug addict. You'll never be able to make it. That's way too much for you. You can't. I'm just so sick and tired of you can't. Right? And remember I said on the last podcast, no, negative down here.
Positive
up here. I'm going with all the positive first. Where most of the time we go with the negative first, and we get to the positive way down here. I'm like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
That's stupid. Positive. By the time I get to the negative, I'm like,
Who cares?
Who cares? Exactly. Who cares? All right. So let's guess where we're going to go now.
1 Samuel.
We are. But first, what are we going to do?
Chow time.
Yeah. You going to do that, Lillian? I dare you.
Say it, Lillian.
Go ahead and say it.
Chow time.
Chow time.
Chow time. You remember chow time?
Yeah, I feel like they said chow rolling.
Chow. Okay, well, chow rolling.
Chow rolling? I don't ever remember that.
Different units say different things.
Here. Chow time.
Chow time.
Yeah. So when I go to Woodman, they always are eating when I get there. So there's always people walking through on the little hallway there. So I'm always like, how's dinner? And some girls are like, oh, it was delicious. I'm like, what? It was delicious? Like, yeah, what was for dinner? And I never should ask that because it's always pork something. Right? Except for, I know this sounds kind of crazy. Girls like, oh, we had corn dogs. I'm like, corn dogs? Like, corn dogs? Yeah, corn dogs without a stick. I said, well, if you don't have a stick in it, it ain't a corn dog.
It's just a...
It's just a...
No, isn't the corny thing because of the corn batter?
I don't know what it is, but
that's
it's not a corn
pancake
dog
batter?
without a stick. And then there's no mustard. I'm like, what kind of...
It's cornmeal batter.
Yeah, okay.
That's why it's a corny dog.
It's a corny dog, but not a corn dog.
It's corny dog.
Okay, whatever.
Where are we going?
We're going to go into this just for a little bit. Last week, I think I had you crying because I was telling you, because we were reading some of this, and we're talking about some of the things that we need to give up, right?
I wasn't crying.
I know, but sometimes I think we're so used to living by grace that we think we could just do whatever we want to. And you know what? We shouldn't want to do whatever we want to, because if it's affecting Jesus, we should not do that.
Yeah.
You know, so I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And then I think one of my biggest issues, and hopefully when I get to heaven that Jesus isn't really just on my case about it, but sometimes I feel as though, and I had a pastor one time told me I wasn't reverent, and he told me that in front of the whole congregation. Anyway, after it was over, somebody said, what was that all about? I said, I don't know. But I get it, because a lot of times I feel as though it's not that I don't want to be reverent. It's just that maybe my personality, because sometimes I'll pray and I'll be cracking jokes. And I'm like, wait a second, don't be cracking jokes while I'm praying, because that is not right. You know, but sometimes I do that, right? So sometimes I think I'm not reverent, and I need to work on that a little bit more. Not that I just have to be fake, because I don't want to be fake, but I just need to, I need to realize that, God's a holy God and I am not. And who do I think I am? Yes, because I got to have a little bit of fear of the Lord too. Yes?
Yes.
Anyway, it's just something I'm working on. I'm not working on it all that hard, but I need to work on it. Okay, so where are we? We're in Samuel, right? Where in Samuel? 1 Samuel 12, because we're all over the place. We are still not into where the people wanted a king. That's coming here soon. But the people wanted a king. Why? They wanted to be like everybody else. Their king, they already had a king. They already had Jesus. They already had the Lord. The Lord was fighting all their battles. The Lord was the man in their lives. And they said, you know what? That's not good enough. We want a king like everybody else has got. You're just like, how ridiculous is that? But in my own life, don't we do the same thing? Hey, Jesus, you're just not enough for me because now I need a relationship with Joe Smokable. Not me, because I'm not. I'm homophobic, but you can't get you can't give up your relationship with the Lord for Joe SB, JSB, Joe Smokable. Hopefully he's not Joe Smokable Jr. because that's going to be ridiculous. But we can't. How many times we're trading Jesus off for like a king or something else? And Jesus is like, and then Samuel's just like taking it personal. And Jesus is like, don't take it personal because it's not about you, Samuel. It's about me. And they're rejecting me. And then I'm thinking, man, how many times am I rejecting Jesus? I don't want to reject Jesus no matter what it is. And then, what you're talking about persecution, what kind of persecution do I have? Not really. I really don't have persecution.
Well, I can persecute you.
Well, that's probably true, but that I'd probably just start laughing if you hit me. But but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because usually the people that I talk to about the Lord, everybody seems to be responsive. I guess the only time I have persecution is when I'm talking to Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. Then I have some persecution going on because I know when I'm walking away, they're thinking, there goes Satan. I guarantee
put
it.
in his coffee this morning.
I know. I guarantee it. They're thinking that. So maybe there is some persecution with that. Because when they're standing at the door, I'm not afraid to say, hey, what's up with that? Jesus is what to you? Oh, that ain't true. But anyway, let's go to Samuel 16. I got to throw that in, don't I, girls? 16, or 13. It says, now here's the king you've chosen. So the Israelites wanted a king. God's given them a king now. The one you have requested. Look, this is the king the Lord has placed over you. If you fear the Lord, worship and obey him. And if you don't rebel against the Lord's command, then both of you and the king who rules over you will follow the Lord your God, right? So we still have to obey the Lord, yes? We still need to obey the Lord. However, if you disobey the Lord and rebel against his commands, the Lord's hand will be against you and against your ancestors. Tell me that hasn't happened. Right? Yes, girls?
Yeah.
Not only, maybe in our past, some of our ancestors rebelled against the Lord, and their consequences have affected us in certain ways that we may not know that. And then, you know what? Like we were talking to you, were saying, our disobedience is affecting other people. Yes?
Yes.
And that's just what happens. But it doesn't have to continue to be that way. So just so you know, however, if you disobey the Lord and rebel against his commands, this is the Bible. You don't think it's the truth, but guess what? Go ahead and live it out because this is going to happen to you. This is going to happen. If you rebel against the Lord's commands, the Lord's hand will be against you. Why would I want the Lord's hand to be against me? I want the Lord's hand to be for me, not against me, right? And against you and against your ancestors. Why would I want to disobey the Lord and then have my consequences be against my grandkids or against my kids? Yes? Because I've already done enough damage. I just don't want to continue to do that. I want things to change, and things can change because I'm doing different things with my grandkids than I did with my own kids. My grandkids will never say, Grandpa, you weren't around when we were younger, because those kids are going to know, right? Okay. So now, therefore, present yourselves and see this great thing that the Lord will do before your eyes. I love it when Jesus does things before our eyes. Hasn't he? When we look back on our stuff, haven't you remember what Jesus has done for us?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
We've talked about this. Everything, it seems like, not everything, because I'm not saying it's us because it's not us, but it seems like things we talk about on this podcast happen. You just said, hey, I need to get my volunteer status for the prison. Well, let's just hope it happens before this next podcast. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't surprise me. It just would not surprise me. Okay, so see what the Lord will do before your eyes. Isn't this the wheat harvest day? I will call on the Lord. Samuel's calling on the Lord, and he will send thunder and rain so that you will know and see what great evil you committed in the Lord's sight by requesting a king for yourselves. Samuel called on the Lord. On that day, the Lord sent thunder and rain. As a result, all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. They pleaded with Samuel, pray to the Lord your God for your servants so we don't die. For we have added to all our sin the evil of requesting a king for ourselves. Did they regroup? No, because they still accepted the king. You know what's crazy about this right here? Is why did they say, they pleaded with Samuel, pray to your God? Why don't you pray to your God, Samuel? Why not pray to our God?
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe they still were missing it. There was no relationship there. You know, when we're praying to our God. We're not just praying, oh, God, you pray to your God, you pray to your God, you pray to your God. No, that's ridiculous. We're praying to our God. But these people here said, Sam, you pray to your God for us. I mean, I don't want to be like that.
No.
They're missing something here, right? So, for we have added, okay, so Samuel replied, don't be afraid. Look, they've already made a mistake. They've already asked for a king. They've already traded the Lord in for a man, right? Why would I want to trade the Lord in for a man? I don't know about you girls, but I'm tired of man, because man is going to let you down. I don't care who he is. He's going to let you down sooner or later. He's going to do something stupid, whatever. And when you're putting your trust in man, you are asking for for something.
I'm not trading the Lord for no man. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying it's okay to have a man, but you can't put him in front of the Lord. How many times, girls, have I seen this? You get out of prison, boom, I'm in a relationship with Joe, and then I'm 2 weeks in, I'm like, we're friends on Facebook, and then I say, uh-oh. And then the relationship, things happen to, you're following the Lord, you're in a relationship, all of a sudden that guy doesn't want to go to church. Next thing you know, you've traded the Lord for this guy. And then you wonder why things are going sour. Anyway, so don't be afraid, even though you have committed all this evil. Even though you've committed all this evil, don't turn away from following the Lord.
I won't.
I'm not talking to you.
Oh.
And I'm not talking, but you know what, Lillian, what you've been saying, right? There was a time in your life where you have done some stuff that wasn't right, and you did fall away from the Lord. Samuel's saying, even if you've committed evil, do not fall away from the Lord. When you said, hey, if I would have just come up and talked to you, right? But the thing about it is we could just go talk to the Lord. We know he's going to be gracious and forgive us. We don't go talk to him. We jump back into all our stuff. And then, which I didn't even know you were going to say that, but it just fits into what we're doing here. Don't turn away to follow worthless things that can't profit or deliver you. I'm tired of stuff. Haven't we made choices of stuff that deliver us and it winds up being even worse? I'm tired of turning to stuff that's a dead end. I am tired of going down the one-way road to nowhere. I'm not doing that no more. I'm not making choices to follow something else. I'm following the Lord, right? Even though I've done things wrong, even though I've wanted my own king, even though I've wanted this and that, I'm not following away. Not because the Samuel says so, because the Lord's saying so. Okay? Things that can't profit or deliver you, they are worthless. How many times, right, ladies, and gentlemen, how many times have we just followed things that were worthless? I mean, how much time have I spent just wasting my time on worthless stuff?
How much time do we got?
How much time? I know, just like it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I'm tired of worthless stuff. And I'm not saying we shouldn't work, pay our bills, have a nice car. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, not serving the Lord a lot of times is just waste. I'm not saying we can't go on vacation, but I'm just saying that we're put our trust in other things but the Lord and follow worthless things.
Yeah.
I think that makes some sense. Okay. So the Lord will not abandon his people because of his great name and because he has determined to make you his own people. And I know that this was a long time ago, and we're probably going to end on this. So, okay. But I'm just going to give my little spiel here. So no matter what you've done, because of his great name, because of Jesus' great name, and because he has determined to make you his own people, he has determined to make you part of what's going on in his gig. He's made you to be part of what's going on in the kingdom of God. He's determined to make you incredible. You got to prison because of your mistakes, but God actually rescued you there because he's determined to have a relationship with you. Now, you can continue to do bonehead things if you want to, and then guess what? There's going to be consequences to those, but God still loves you. There's just going to be consequences to your bonehead moves. But you should turn your life over to God. He's determined to love you, to care about you, to rescue you, to forgive you, to not shame you, condemn you, or any of those things. So guess what? Start picking it up. And if you don't know Jesus, you probably should make a choice to start turning your life over to him. Now, you can read the thing after this podcast, but you're going to have to read super fast.
I can read it just fine.
I know, because you already know what it says. But anyway, so if you're just sitting there today and you think that you've made so many mistakes that God doesn't love you, it's just not true. These people said, we don't want you as our king. We don't want you as our leader. We don't want you as our master. We don't want you as our creator. They wanted man. They settled for what it was way down the line. And Jesus still loved them. And he still cared about them. And he still loves you and he still cares about you. But you need to start making some decisions. You got to start following him. Why? Because you have to? No, because you want to, because what he's done for you. And how much he's loved you, and how much he cares about you. Boom. So who's going next? You want to go next, Lillian? Talk to who is ever on the other side of this camera. Some encouraging words.
I would just say, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, if you just start committing like 5 to 10 minutes a day in your Bible, just give him a couple minutes to talk to him. You'll slowly start to increase that into more. If you don't have a Bible, I'm sure that there's places that you can get them, but Jesus loves you right where you're at, no matter what you've done. He offers forgiveness if you ask for it. I mean, even if you don't ask for it, he's still there, but yeah, he loves you just the way you are.
Yeah.
Kimberley?
If you're sitting in prison, maybe you start reading Jeremiah again. If you haven't read it, the letter to the captives. It's the famous scripture, you know, he knows the plans he has for us. He gives us a hope and a future. But that's all we know, right? But if you really read the letter to the captives, it was written to the Israelites when they were taken captive in Babylon. Was it Babylon? I think it was Babylon. Anyways, it was a different time, so slavery and taken captive was a lot different than being set in a prison cell or in a facility of standardization. It was a little different. They had families and crops and stuff. But if you read that and really study it, it tells you exactly how to start living out that hope in a future. Whatever life you're trying to live outside of those walls, it starts now, while you're in there. Go spread the word of God. Choose to love God. Follow God. Make him your savior. Be good to people. Live prosperous. Plant seeds and build a harvest. So if I have anything to say, I've wanted to say it a couple times since I've been on here. Go study the letter to the captives and really correlate it to the life that you're living in behind those walls. Because that is literally the guidebook to how you start, where you start, and it all starts right now, behind those walls. If you can't do it in there, you cannot do it out here. And that, I think that was my biggest lesson, that if I had to give anyone in prison, that is the biggest lesson. If you can't make the change and the dedication to live a better life while you are in there, whenever you have so many people against it or you have so many people watching, then you're not going to do it out here. And if you do it out here, you can do it for a minute, but you won't do it long.
Okay.
Do it now.
That's funny. Yeah, she's going to throw punch you if you're not careful. Her and Misty.
She's coming.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Pretty soon.
Anyway, we're going to roll. We're going to see you soon. Like, we're going to see ourselves real soon. But we're going to see you in about a week. So, you know what? Hang in there. Know you're worth it. Know you're valuable. Know that God loves you. Keep your chin up. If you're a child of the King, you're a princess or you're a prince, let's start walking around in our unforgiveness, or in our forgiveness, not our unforgiveness.
Not unforgiveness. Forgiveness.
Yeah, in our forgiveness. All right. Well, until next week, Hang in there. See you later.